All right, folks, once again, I am Tom Downey. Alongside me is Mitchell Renz. Let's dive into our NFL mailbag. Use hashtag NFL in the comments section to have your questions answered live. Some we did in advance of the show. Everything else will come in from the comment section live right now on YouTube and on Facebook. First up from David Herman, what about Carson Wentz to the Jaguars? If the Eagles decide to shop Carson Wentz, I think that is a logical landing spot.
Sure.
I don't think they're going to.
I understand the Nick Foles magic is great, right? We saw what he did last postseason, and this postseason was good. Carson Wentz is the better quarterback. He has got the longer future of the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's not forget, the dude was an MVP candidate before going down with an injury in 2017, people. Like, Carson Wentz to the Jags, sure. If they move on from him, I think they're crazy, but there's a reason why the Jags were my number one team for Nick Foles. So if Carson Wentz is the man out, he can instantly go to the Jaguars, and I think the Jags, even though they had a bad year, are still a playoff caliber team with that defense. They have a multitude of running backs, even if they want to get rid of Leonard Fournette. You insert Carson Wentz to that team, that's a tough team to beat.
Yep. All right, so who should the Eagles keep at quarterback? Type F for Foles, W for Wentz. I say Wentz. You can eat that W too, Mitch?
Yeah.
You can eat the W on air? Yeah.
Can you do it?
Yeah, you can eat the W. Yeah. All right, thanks, Wentz.
Jameis.
Appreciate that. I think it's Carson Wentz, so I think that is very much a no-brainer on that. I think that's the route that they really should go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, folks, if you haven't already subscribed to us on YouTube, the link's right there. If you're on Facebook, youtube.com/chatsportstv. If you're on YouTube, well, just hit the button right there. Pretty simple for you. We'll have all kinds of NFL coverage for you this offseason, I promise you.
And news, rumors, like people are always saying, like, oh, what are you guys going to do in the offseason? Just so you know, this is our season. This is when Chat Sports thrives. And we're going to be along the ride with you, and we're going to do fun shows like this so you guys can get on air with us. It's all about having fun.
Next up, this one, the only one I took from my Twitter because they were all Cowboys questions. I didn't want to overload you guys. But Anthony asks, hey, do you think the Cowboys make some trades for Antonio Brown? And I saw this one plenty in the comment section, actually, in the middle of the show, so it kind of worked out as well. The answer is no. There's no chance this happens. Now, in Madden, okay, sure, I'd like to do that. Here's the thing, though. You already got to pay Amari Cooper a lot of money next year, about $15 million, $14 million or so, and then extend him. You cannot pay $30 million to two receivers in today's NFL. That's typically not how things work out.
Absolutely
you can't
not.
Justify that much. Plus DeMarcus Lawrence, plus Zeke, Byron Jones, Dak, Jalen Smith coming up, all those guys. Can't afford Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown. Oh, by the way, if you wanted to trade for him, what are you offering? You don't have a first-round pick. Your second-round pick is 58th overall.
Yeah.
You will get outbid by the Niners, by almost every other team.
And they should. Like, again, this is one of those pipe dream kind of things, but, and just in terms of reality, no. I also don't know if it'd be that great of a fit. Like, sure, like, AB's great and all, but I personally want to see AB go somewhere else, not with Dak.
All right, next up from Truth Beyond Phenomenon says, Cardinals may trade Rosen to the Jags or Jets and draft Kyler Murray, then the 49ers get Bosa. So I tweeted this at What Going Downey. It's my pinned tweet if you want to go check it out. No more of this Kyler Murray bullshit. He is not going to the Arizona Cardinals. ESPN freaking tweeted about it. All of this is based on a 2-month-old video multiple-month-old video about head coach Cliff Kingsbury talking about how much he liked Kyler Murray. Well,
Sure.
he's playing against them. Every head coach in the history of ever has offered praise to the quarterback they're playing against in the next week. There's nothing to this. The Cardinals just drafted Josh Rosen, and they hired Cliff Kingsbury specifically to develop him. It's not going to happen.
I mean, why would you get mad at somebody for saying that, yeah, they like Kyler Murray? Guess what? If you don't like Kyler Murray, you probably shouldn't be an NFL coach. And I mean, there's a reason why the dude won the Heisman. Now, Josh Rosen struggled a little bit this year, and there's a reason why the Cardinals were ranked dead last in terms of points per game, but there was a lot of issues there. I think Josh Rosen is still going to be a good quarterback.
I got him in a debate here because someone said Josh Rosen sucked, and I disagree with him. He's a good friend, but they had a few pieces around him. They had David Johnson, who was notably misused.
A horrible offensive line.
The offensive line had 7 players on IR by the end of the year. All of those predicted starters were on IR.
Exactly.
They were down to their second and third string offensive line. The only one was really Mason Cole, who played all 16 games, but that was because the starter A.Q. Shipley got hurt before the season began.
Exactly.
They were decimated.
You can't win football games in the NFL if you lose the battle of the trenches. And they didn't even get to the battle.
Absolutely not. All right, again, folks, use hashtag NFL to have your questions featured live on air. Get them in there. I already see a bunch of them coming in. Producer Dominique will get to them for us throughout the show as well. All right, next up, from Smozo, I think that's how it's pronounced. Says,
Absolutely no idea.
Whatever. SMYZO, there you go. It says Nick Bosa, 17 career sacks, goes through the difference between Josh Allen and Nick Bosa, and says that it's all media hype around Nick Bosa, which I fundamentally disagree with. Because, yes, Nick Bosa didn't have the greatest production compared to a guy like Josh Allen, who was elite production throughout his career at Kentucky. Here's the thing, though. Joey Bosa, we know how good he is in the NFL, right? Had 26 and 38 games. So if you factor in Nick Bosa, who, by the way, had 4 sacks in 3 games, factor that across, it ends up looking pretty similar. Clowney had 24 in about 38 games. J.J. Watt had 11.5 in 26 games. So you can't base everything on production. That is not something, because if it was, Sutton Smith would be the number 1 pick this year. You guys don't know who Sutton Smith is, but he's had 39 sacks in 2 years.
Hey,
and 40-plus tackles for loss.
I think to call him overrated, maybe the only way you could potentially say it is because literally almost every mock draft you look at, it's Nick Bosa going 1. But people don't draft on what you did in college. They say, like, all right, here's a mold, and then this is what I could potentially build you into. If he's anything like his brother Joey, first-round pick. He's just got to stay healthy. That's the only thing.
He's a very similar prospect to Joe Bosa.
It's almost like they're related. It's crazy thing.
Sense. So you can argue Nick Bosa shouldn't go number 1. I understand that.
Sure.
But it's not just media hype. So who is the best prospect in the 2019 NFL Draft? Let me know in the comment section. I got a big 3 already. It's Nick Bosa, Quinnen Williams, and Josh Allen. So who we'll get to here in just a minute, because that was not meant to say Josh Allen hate speech, but I'll explain why here in a second. But today's show is brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. So head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. Put down 50, they're going to give you 60 for free, Mitchell. On to our next mailbag. This is from Michael, who says, Josh Allen is way overrated at number 2, proving that you can never always make everyone happy. Which I also fundamentally disagree with, because Josh Allen, I think, is a great prospect. So
Imagine if you would have said that last year.
Well, I liked him last year, but he got a lot better this year. 17 sacks, 21.5 tackles for loss. I don't think he goes number 1 overall, but he is very much worthy as a top 5 pick, Mitch.
I meant Josh Allen, the quarterback, because I know you didn't like him.
I didn't like Josh.
But
way better prospect.
Way better. Heck, might have even been a better quarterback prospect as well. But you just want to talk about raw ability and what a player can work with. Sure, he's a little bit undersized and I think skinny. But if I'm an NFL team, I'm looking at the height, I'm looking at the speed, I'm looking at the burst. If all I got to do is put 20 pounds on you in the NFL, that's easy. Really easy. You get him in the weight room. You get him working out, eating food, man. Josh Allen, sky's the limit. What? Why you had him, top 2 in your mock?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's number 2 to the 49ers. Because
Yeah.
if they miss on Nick Bosa, I think Josh Allen makes a ton of sense for him.
Sounds good to me.
All right, time for some comments here. Flowing in again. Use hashtag NFL to have them featured. One, not using hashtag NFL, but that's okay. Casey Pratt says, should Dak be replaced? No. Who are you going to get that's better? Don't tell me Nick Foles. Not the correct answer.
Should you replace him? No, he's still cheap. Maybe once
He's super cheap.
Once he wants that big contract, then
That's
it's worth the discussion.
That's a different discussion.
But right now in the NFL, he's cheap. You want him.
All right, Charles says, there's Nick Foles. Get Nick Foles. We have the money. Cut Dak. That is such a disastrous idea. Why the hell would you cut Dak if you're going to move on from him? Trade him. You'll get value there.
Why would you sign a quarterback who's 30 years old, who you're going to pay $20 million, you're going to have Dak at a much fraction of a cost, who has a much better idea of what your offense wants to do?
Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. All right, Ohio State the best says, what happened if Josh Allen goes to Denver? Do you mean the quarterback or the outside linebacker? Because they don't need the outside linebacker.
Yeah.
But Buffalo's not going to move on from Josh Allen right now. So that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Ohio State's the best comments of a bunch of our videos. I do know that, but I would imagine maybe Josh Allen to the Broncos. I think you mean quarterback, because Josh Allen is not going to fall all the way to the Broncos.
It doesn't make sense for them anyway. All right, so some more mailbag questions here. Chaotic Asset says Jimmy G is better than Blake Bortles. Yes, I completely agree with that.
I don't know who Blake Bortles is. But
I know he means
Blake Bortles might be better than Blake Bortles.
Yes, Jimmy G is better than Blake Bortles too. So there you go.
I think you're better than Blake Bortles.
All right, Matthew asks, where do you think Kyler Murray will get drafted? I think he goes round 1, provided he commits to football, Mitchell.
I think he goes round 1 as well. I think even if it's kind of wishy-washy, some team's going to take a shot on him at the latest at the second round. I mean, he's way too talented. We saw it. I think he's short, but he's really good, and he's fun. And he's going to put butts in seats, which is important, believe it or not.
All right, Peter asks, where do y'all think Le'Veon Bell will go? I think the Jets make the most sense. I really do.
Bell wants money.
Yeah, that too.
That's it. Whoever's going to give him the biggest paycheck, and I think it's going to be the Jets, who have close to $90 million in cap space. I think it's that, but I would be interesting to see him go to the Colts, but I think the Colts would be okay without him.
All right, so I don't think the Colts are going to have much interest in him, actually. I know that
Marlon
Bell
Mack was
kinda
great.
wants it.
It's money. I mean, Nyheim Hines, Marlon Mack, I'll take that at their price tag than paying Le'Veon Bell, who probably wants $40 million guaranteed and like $16 million.
All right, Daquan Smith asks Kyler Murray to the Redskins. I think that's a possibility. If he's on the board, I think he could be a good fit there.
Yeah. Kyler Murray to the Redskins. I mean, the Redskins definitely need help, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy's probably a Redskins fan because he threw up the hashtag.
And money is a big issue there for them.
Sure.
Because of the way Alex
Smith is done. I mean, he's not coming back. Unfortunately, it was a gruesome injury. We made that video go viral, which is pretty dope. But Kyler Murray to the Redskins, wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, I think that makes some sense there as well. All right, Mino says Broncos have the high draft pick for AB, but would the Steelers trade him to a rival? Jets suck. They could go there. The Jets want to ruin Darnold. That's a fair point if you want to worry about Antonio Brown's mindset, but also you need to get Sam Darnold weapons and talented players. I think Antonio Brown fits that mold.
I think he fits that mold as well. But again, the only way I'm going out and getting AB, sure, if you want to get him for a second rounder, different story. But I think
the Jets don't have.
That's also true. I think at the end of the day, if you're in win now mode, you go get AB. How many people think the Jets are in win now mode?
Good point. Very good point. All right, Jason Moore, could the Patriots trade for Antonio Brown? I mean, they could, but Pittsburgh will not send him there.
No.
The Patriots could offer 2 firsts, and I think Pittsburgh, and I would disagree with it, I think Pittsburgh would say, you know what, no, you're not.
Imagine. That'd be incredible. I think it's funny. We heard just a few weeks ago Tom Brady's lost it at 41, and ask the Chargers if he's lost it.
Yeah, I think that Patriots could try. I think they would be roundly, saying no from the Steelers. Absolutely. All right, Big Man Spurs 4 says, what do you think about Garrett saying Linehan would stay? I hate it. I also don't believe him yet. They only met with the staff today. I don't think anything's been finalized yet. I will believe it once Stephen Jones and or Jerry Jones come out and say, Linehan is our offensive coordinator. The Joneses, I don't think, like Scott. Well, and in the end, they always get what they want, except for a title.
I feel like when a coach does one of those kind of interviews, it's like when my mom asked me, do you like what I'm wearing? I'm like, yeah, Mom, you look great. You look great.
All right, Brendan R. says, hopefully with Kyler entering the draft, the Giants don't need to move up to get Dwayne Haskins. Possibly. I also don't know if Kyler's going to go top 10.
I don't think he's going to go top 10.
He could get forced up there.
But maybe people are saying, like, all right, Dwayne's getting forced up so high because the other quarterbacks, there's just not many there.
But we also know this is that no one believes in draft. And there are some teams that don't believe in drafting a quarterback of Kyler Murray's size or play style.
Sure.
So that is going to limit his team.
If I have anything to do with it over at the Raiders Report, somebody's trading up for the Raiders at number 4 to get Dwayne Haskins.
All right, Spencer Smith, are the Colts on the brink of a dynasty with 9 picks and over $100 million in cap space? I think they're in great shape, but they got to win something before I call them a dynasty. Because that defense does need help. They're in really good shape, but
the defense definitely stepped up. But to use the word dynasty is tough. Like, I think of the Patriots as a dynasty, and they're not there yet. Yeah, I love Andrew Luck. He's going to win Comeback Player of the Year, but they need to add a lot more pieces around it for even to be considered dynasty. But Andrew Luck next week, they're in win now mode. So go on and get it.
All right, Raymond Nelson says Super Bowl predictions. Who you got, Mitch?
Saints, Patriots, sticking with it.
I like that one. My alternative one, which I know is totally cheating, but I had this earlier on in the year. Patriots over Rams, Belichick and Brady right off into the sunset. And then everyone celebrates in the AFC East.
And then also Gronk is going to ride off too because he's leaving.
All right, Trainer Cheddar says, would the Raiders be good with AB and Nick Foles? I'll let you take this one, Mitch, as the host of the Raiders Report.
I mean, would they be good with both those players? Sure, but I don't really see a need at getting rid of Derek Carr. Sure, the Raiders can save $15 million by cutting Carr this year, but at the end of the day, I would rather have Derek Carr, who played well at the end of the season, instead of Nick Foles. I don't want to pay Nick Foles $20 million. And then Antonio Brown. Only way a team is going to sign AB, in my opinion, is if they're in win now mode. Raiders, I think we can all agree, are not in win now mode. They do have a lot of picks. They do have a lot of money up here and coming, but I think they're going to wait to really go balls to the wall until 2020.
All right, who do you think are the top 5 free agents the Niners are going to sign? Well, I don't know about gonna, but in terms of pursuing guys,
AB.
I think someone like Antonio Brown makes a ton of sense there. I think someone in terms of trades, I think Earl Thomas is probably going to be their top free agency target.
Yeah, I'm thinking AB, Earl Thomas. I'm trying to think of what the heck the 49ers need. They need a healthy running back. I think Jerick McKinnon will come back. They need some defensive help there. Why don't you DM me on Twitter, at Mitchell Renz 365 and at WhatGoingDowney. We can give you a better top 5.
All right, Jason Moore, do you think ranking Dwayne as the number 1 quarterback in the draft is high? He's only played a season and a half full of games. That's a fair concern. It absolutely is. But I also want to make note that so did Mitchell Trubisky.
Yep.
So that is a red flag that this could be a flash-in-the-pan type guy. But I think that the Bears are willing to do it with Trubisky. I think it'll be something similar with Dwayne Haskins.
And you like Dwayne Haskins a little bit more than me, and I'll, watch the tape a little bit more closely. You're a little bit higher on Haskins, and I do greatly, respect your opinion. I'm not saying I don't. I'm not saying I don't, but I think Haskins is a little bit overrated, and I'd be a little bit wary to draft him.
I'm Sharp Lowell says, where do you think Dez Bryant will go? I could see him just re-signing with the Saints.
I think he should just re-sign with the Saints. I mean, I don't know what team's going to take the chance on him. The Saints already did, and I think he'd be a good fit, actually, with the Saints if he can come back. I mean, that's a wicked injury.
Michael Stott had a super chat earlier, so I appreciate that, Michael. Thank you, guys. You use super chat. We'll make sure it gets showed. He says, what are the odds a referee's call affects the Super Bowl? I'll say 100%.
I was just going to say, I feel like it has to be 100%.
They'll make a call. It might be the right call. I assume you kind of mean bad call. But how many times this year have we seen a questionable call impact an NFL game this year?
What about that sack on Dak?
Don't want to talk about it. Wasn't a sack. Terrible call. All right, C-Bird says, what happened to Terrence Williams for the Cowboys? Going to just correct you there.
He says Cowgirls, though.
Shut up, Mitch. He was placed on IR, and I think he's going to be cut at the end of the season. Or I guess in the offseason.
Who wants Terrence Williams? Let's be real.
No one's going to trade for him, so I don't think that's going to be a factor there. All right, Don Darrow says Foles to the Jags with a good defense. And that's kind of something you mentioned, Mitch, and you like the idea there.
Well, Don, I don't know if you watched the show earlier, but I gave my top 5 teams for Nick Foles. And if you didn't, you can also go watch it on YouTube. Just type in top 5 teams for Nick Foles, or you can just subscribe to Chat Sports, and you can see all the teams. But the Jags, they were my number 1 team.
All right, Mike says, who do the Raiders pick at 4? I think they're going to go edge rusher. I think if Josh Allen's there or Nick Bosa's there, they go one of those two. If not,
Colin Farrell?
Maybe. I think some NFL might be lower on him than I am.
Or, fingers crossed, Dwayne Haskins rumors.
Also great.
A team's going to trade up to the number 4. The Raiders get even more picks in the first round, get even more picks in the NFL draft. I've been getting that rumor going. Mike, help me out, my man.
All right, Daquan Smith says, do you think Greedy Williams will slide? I mean, possibly. I guess define slide. I think he goes top 10, top 15.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he fell out of the combine. I'd be surprised if he fell out of the 10. I would say the only way.
Greedy's my number 1 guy. The past years, my top cornerback has bombed the combine. So maybe I'll curse him again.
Yeah, dude's long and lanky. He's just an athletic freak.
All right, Antonio Barea. If the Steelers trade Antonio Brown, which receivers can replace him in the draft? I think it'd be a late-round pick. I mean, there is no one really.
Yeah, nobody's going to replace you're not going to replace 5 straight years of over 100 catches, over 1,250 yards, and 8 touchdowns. That's just not replaceable. But, I mean, this is, I think, a pretty weak wide receiver draft. So you better hope Juju or James Washington steps up.
Saw a couple of different comments on DeMarcus Lawrence. Just one quick note on him before we sign off. I think in reality, they're going to franchise tag him. Same with Clowney. So I don't know if I was going to actually hit the open market in the end. And Benjamin back, thank you for watching. I know you wanted a shout out. Well, there you go. Who you think Nick Foles will be starting? Nick Foles is not going to start for you. This is my main point there.
Yeah, I don't think Nick Foles.
Kind of glance over the question.
I don't think Nick Foles is going to be the starting quarterback either. I think it's going to be Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I think Carson Wentz as well. Foles might be traded. All right, guys, keep using hashtag NFL in the comments section. I'll go back and respond to some of them as well. But until next time, go subscribe, youtube.com/chatsportstv.